What's up, everybody? You're back in here with the Pro Football Pod. You've got the boys, Hulk, Coach, Austin. We're back in here with you, NFC West style this time. San Francisco 49ers on the docket today, diving into them. You got the Joe Montana jersey on. You know,
Hey.
you've got the spirit coming.
It's
Gang,
Joe
gang, Niner
Montana,
gang.
you asshole.
Joe Montana was a quarterback, you asshole.
So, yeah, man, 49ers, Super Bowl contenders last year. Austin, what do you think about Brock Purdy coming into this year?
I mean, the dude's a stud in the XFL.
I was waiting. I was like, dude,
You're such a hater. You're such a hater.
I mean, he's only got so much potential. He's just capped out there. He's a short quarterback. He's got a great team to work with. I'll give him
So
that.
for
But,
those
like,
out there that can't tell,
put a healthy Aaron Rodgers over there, that team would have won the Super Bowl. You know,
The
Put
dude
any
threw
other
for
quarterback.
4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
He has the best yak machines.
Yes,
to
okay,
have on a team.
I
So, like,
understand that, and he
I'm
is
not gonna be a
playing in
big old
probably
hater.
one
He's
of the
efficient.
best systems.
He's
But
efficient.
I mean, you can't fully hate on the guy because he is able to play the system.
yes.
Trey Lance obviously wasn't able to. Sam
So,
Darnold,
CJ 's
former top 3 pick, wasn't able to. Like,
CJ Stroud was talking on a podcast last week, and he started talking about Purdy, and he basically was saying, "Fuck you, Austin, and all the haters like you that keep saying that this guy isn't a dude. Like, it's so hard to play quarterback in the NFL to do all these things right that a lot of these guys that are open because of him, because of the way he's using his eyes and the leg work that he uses and all the leadership stuff and like the." Whenever we were first making videos and Brock Purdy became the starter because of injury and he had some success, all three of us said, well, Shanahan is running a very simple system for him. He's not being asked to do a lot. He's surrounded by a bunch of talent. But that
Best
has
offensive line in
changed
the
for me.
league. Best
Not the best
defense in the
offensive line.
league.
And it's a great
What?
defense, but
Hold on.
it's not the best offensive.
They have the best
the
left
Lions,
tackle in the league.
Lions have the best offensive line in
Okay,
the league.
but last year,
Last year they had the best offensive line in the league. Now, what I am saying
49ers.
is this guy, he's made all of the moves. Last year he was a top 7 fantasy quarterback, and right now he's being drafted at quarterback 11. Like, he's obviously a dude. It's not the system anymore. He's being asked to do more and more. That NFC Championship game that they won versus the Lions with the best offensive line in the league, I mean, dude, that is impressive stuff. So I'm done hating on Purdy. Purdy's the dude. Doesn't have to worry about his job from anyway. I will draft him, especially if I don't have to take him as my first quarterback. We just talked about how great his weapons are.
not even that. If you play like I do and you prefer to wait on a quarterback, if I can get him in round 7 or round 8 to be my QB, knowing I've filled out my roster, probably snatching up either Brandon Ayuk or Debo in the 2nd or 3rd round, like with a stack, like I'm cool with that. Like, I understand.
So
the
you don't
hate.
think there's any other quarterback that those receivers would want to play for?
I don't
I
think
mean,
at this point.
I'm sure there are a handful of quarterbacks,
But they don't play
like,
for the 49ers.
I'm
Because
not
they're
saying
two guys that honestly
I'm
want
not
to get out of
saying
there.
he's a top 5 quarterback, but I'm also not saying he's a bottom 15 quarterback. Like, okay, talent wise, got it. Like, he might not have
Bottom
the strongest arm. He might not be the biggest guy,
Or the
but for what
fastest.
he is asked to do in that system,
He's doing it well.
it works.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of quarterbacks could do it well. You know, he's just
Well,
filling that spot right now.
So then, Austin, are you saying that Joshua
You're
Dobbs?
you're a Shanahan truther to where the quarterback in his system does not matter.
exactly.
So
as long as he's
why
healthy and he's actually
could
got some
Sam
talent.
Darnold, a former number 3 overall pick, or Trey Lance, a former number 3 overall pick that they
He
traded
broke
up
his ankle.
for?
He broke his leg. He never got a
He
shot.
came back and got a shot. He
he
came
never
back and
did.
had a
he
chance to
did.
beat Purdy out
And he did.
and did not do it.
and now he's backing up Dak.
in the
traded to
offseason.
Dallas.
In the offseason.
Yeah, in
He
the
got the
offseason.
chance to an entire offseason
We
to
never
beat
saw
Purdy
him
out.
play.
They drafted him with the number 3 pick
49ers
and then
did.
When we
traded him
did
for a
see him
6th.
play, he was a beast.
The 49ers did. There's reports and interviews out there with Shanahan saying the first time Brock Purdy took the field in training camp, he knew he was the best quarterback they had in the building.
That's awesome.
Better than the guy they traded up for, better than Garoppolo, who was already on the roster. Like, he knew. So I understand being a Shanahan truther because his system has produced just stellar fantasy quarterbacks. But I'm also not willing to sit here and say Brock Purdy should be playing in the XFL. That's just asinine. Like,
Now,
that's egregious.
So
that
Austin,
you cannot say that.
Austin, they added Josh Dobbs.
That's haterade.
They added Josh Dobbs in the offseason. You think that Josh Dobbs is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy? You'd rather have Josh Dobbs if you were Ayuk and Debo?
I mean, he did solid, but like I don't know about Josh Dobbs. Like
I mean, that's his competition.
Yeah, I get that. So like, yeah, you got to roll with Purdy this year, but I feel like you should be looking to make a huge move. I just feel like they're stuck. I feel like bad for the 49ers. I feel like they're stuck in a rut with this type of quarterback.
I don't feel like they're stuck. He was first in QBR. He was third in total. He was third in passing touchdowns and fifth in yards.
Wouldn't be like, oh my God, they're winning a Super Bowl this year.
They lost the Super Bowl because their defense,
Mahomes mirror.
Their defense could not stop Patrick Mahomes, and there is no Mahomes mirror. Mahomes is one of one right now.
Close enough, you know, like.
There's nobody else that's unstoppable in the way that he is. Purdy was winning that game the whole time.
Oh, God bless you, sweet soul.
Thank you, brother. So they lost Chase Young. They lost Javon Kinlaw. They lost Sam Darnold. Who cares? They drafted Ricky Pearsall, Renardo Green, Malik Mustafa, who we were super high on. I like that for their safety.
Mustafa.
Isaac
and Hufanga are going to be fun to watch.
Isaac Guerrero. So I want to spend just a second to talk about this guy. If you're in a dynasty league, I think that this is somebody that's a third round. I wouldn't take him before the third, but I am targeting Isaac Guerrero in the third round. They didn't take him super early, but everything about this guy is that he's just prototypical of what you want from a running back. And CMC's almost 30 years old if he's not already 30, 31. I think that this is the guy that's going to take over for him. I think everyone else that's on the roster is old news, and they realize what their potential is, and they're not ever going to push for carries. But this dude, Isaac Guerrero, I'm all about.
Well, Guerrero works for that system as well. I believe it was Kyle Krabs of Locked On Dolphins that put out there that anybody that runs the Shanahan system was targeting Isaac Guerrero. And there were reports that came out that the 49ers were targeting Jalen Wright before the Dolphins traded up for him.
Love that.
And so what Kyle Krabs was saying was, for their system, Jalen Wright and Isaac Guerrero were the best running backs for what they're asking them to do. And I agree. As far as a third round pick in a dynasty league for a stash, a handcuff to McCaffrey, or just something for the future, like, I'm all about Isaac Guerrero. I like what he gives you. He was the fastest running back in the combine this last year. And then Jacob Cowing at wide receiver from Arizona to round it out for him there. I think he's another guy that, you know, deep stash on a deep dynasty roster, but he could give you value in the future. Him and Pearsall, it's worth noting them because of the question marks surrounding Samuel and Ayuk and which one is going to leave. Are both going to leave? Are they going to end up figuring out on staying? Normally, when there's this much smoke around a player, or in this case, two players, somewhere there's a fire. So, I mean, I'll say, in your opinion, between Ayuk and Samuel, which one should stay?
Should stay.
Who should San Francisco look to keep?
Oh, who should? Okay. I mean, shit, that's hard. They're both like on their own levels different.
That's true.
They're both. I know that's true. I don't know. I feel like you could get more for Debo, and you keep the talent in Ayuk.
Debo's 28 and Ayuk's 26
because of what Debo does for my team.
Ayuk is only 26
how versatile
though, man.
Debo is.
And Ayuk broke out heavy last year. I would definitely keep Ayuk.
Typically means Ayuk might be commanding more money.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
Of the youth.
Because he's younger.
Because you can sign him longer term.
I love that these guys are going as the 15th and 16th wide receiver, though. In past years, whenever you had like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, or that just like who's the clear cut number one and the number two is close. Higgins. Like they're always both gonna get so much value, but one of these guys is obviously gonna get a lot more. People are so much heavier on Debo because he receives and he runs the ball. But I think that Ayuk, the breakout that we saw at the second half of last year, is going to be even better. I think that his ability to work well with Purdy and like their rapport together has only gotten better and better since they've been playing together. I'm very excited about Ayuk this year.
I mean, Debo gives you the rushing, but in the passing game, Ayuk is clearly the better receiver.
Yes.
More targets by far, more receptions by 15, 500 more yards, same amount of touchdowns, but that's because of the value Debo gives you in the red zone. And I mean, he averaged 8 we'll round up to 18 yards per catch. I mean, Debo, even when you add Debo's 225 rushing yards, granted he played one game less, total yardage, Ayuk still has him by about 300 yards.
I wonder what the Panthers could offer for Debo.
I don't think they would offer it for Debo. I think that they'd offer for Ayuk.
I don't think they would offer Debo. Yeah, I think it'd be more Ayuk than it would be Debo.
Yep, because Debo and Leggett are so
Debo
similar.
Played in South Carolina, so it's bringing him home.
Sending him back home.
Debo clone and Xavier Leggett. I see you. I get you there, but for what their team needs, I think Ayuk would make more sense.
They're both going to be playing on the 49ers this year, correct?
Most likely.
Or one of them could be traded by the deadline.
They're still in the midst of, they know this team's making a run. I think this is the last shot.
Yeah.
Super Bowl or bust, regardless, I don't think both of these guys are here next year.
So
hold on.
Awesome.
The quarterback situation, I just think they could have drafted a guy just in case instead
there is
of
no quarterback situation.
They don't see it that way, Austin. They love Purdy.
I get that, but if you would have drafted Joe Milton, that would have been a money move for them. I'm so serious though.
But for a team,
a dude with a cannon arm,
for an offensive,
Shanahan works with them.
For an offensive scheme that prides itself on accuracy and timing and touch.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Joe Milton does not work at all.
I love you, Austin, but he doesn't.
He
has a cannon.
Y'all don't watch football, bro?
We do.
Come on.
So, all right.
You live in the same state as the man.
That's putting a Ferrari on a lawnmower racing track. It's just not going to work. The speed is awesome, but it's going to get you nowhere because he's just going to constantly
running away from rabbits or trying to catch rabbits. Sorry.
So,
all right. I forgot
he grew up in the field
for the Shanahan offensive system.
Well, no, he's a straight athlete. He's a straight athlete. Instead of this, you can tell, Brock Purdy is just too stiff.
Dude, that's what Trey Lance was. And Trey Lance did not work out in the system.
That's not what
Joe
Milton is a little different. Joe Milton's a little different.
No.
I'm telling
Trey
you.
Lance has a kid.
Bro,
Austin.
You're going to hear it more on the Patriots episode. All right, we'll get into it then, but move on.
Trey Lance,
Put your hands down, boy.
Okay, all right, we're calm down.
Put your hands down.
Before Trey Lance got drafted, everybody said about him.
Trey Lance?
Because he played for the 49ers.
That's all you got to go off of?
Austin,
you got to be able to see the future.
Chill. Before Trey Lance got drafted, he was a cannon of an arm. He was able to throw the ball really, really far, and he was super athletic. But that doesn't matter. Not for San Francisco.
Oh.
It doesn't. It obviously doesn't.
It's nice to have, but if they can't...
It's just funny how you act like he can't throw a 7-yard out.
Bro, it's not...
a 10-yard in. You act like he hasn't practiced this.
I want you to pull up Joe Milton's tapes. Because you
I've
always
watched the tape.
your motto is watch the tape. Go back and chart how many 7-10 yard out routes he put in the dirt or behind the wide receiver.
It happens. So all right,
Like,
before we get all right, we're off on a tangent. All right, we don't need to go there. So CMC running back number one overall pick last year in fantasy. Thank you. Last year in fantasy, Austin Eckler was the consensus number 1 overall pick, number 1 running back off the board. And I was saying it all last offseason that that's not smart. Take Justin Jefferson, take CeeDee Lamb, take Tyreek Hill, take these guys early in the draft. So Justin's already said what he thought. Austin, what are you on the same page? Or are you thinking that this is the year I'm taking CMC? If you had the number 1 overall pick in a 10 or a 12 team, half point PPR, are you going CMC?
No, I'm trading back.
You can't trade back, bro.
Well, I was gonna trade back for Puka Nakua. I think
so what you're saying is you'd rather be picking towards the end of the round and not have to deal with that.
I mean, I feel that top three.
My thoughts on it is
CeeDee Lamb.
anytime, I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but anytime Christian McCaffrey has been the consensus number 1 fantasy pick, he's gotten hurt.
Yep.
That's what terrifies me. In no draft do I want the number 1 overall.
I do. I just want to take CeeDee Lamb.
I was going to say it's either CD or Jamar, or like you could make an argument for Tyreek or Breece Hall. Like, even you can make a stronger argument for me almost for Amon-Ra.
Okay, I like all of that. CeeDee Lamb does not
reach on all of those.
CeeDee Lamb
for like CD
except
and
for
Tyreek.
CeeDee Lamb. Tyreek has to deal with the running game. 18 touchdowns last year from Raheem Mostert alone.
Tyreek's gonna get it though. He's working on records.
That didn't really affect.
He's working on
Tyreek's
record books.
You're right.
Now, like,
but CeeDee Lamb has no running game to deal with.
True. He's going to be looking at 15 targets a game.
A game.
The Cowboys have a massive run game this year.
Ezekiel
I don't know if
Elliott.
you guys saw. Yeah, bro. Feed the bees. Come on, man.
Love that. All right, so the other thing I wanted to cover, George Kittle. Yeah, we don't have to go there, Justin. We don't have to go there. Number 7 tight end off the board.
Making my brain break out
Number
here.
68 overall. Are you guys going George Kittle in drafts this year?
I never can draft George Kittle because he's so inconsistent and up and he will get you a 30-point game a few times throughout the season,
maybe 2.
But he will also give you like 5-point games a few times throughout the season.
No, more than a few, dude. He's gonna get you 5 or 6 of those.
And it just depends on how Shanahan runs the offense that week. He's not putting him in that echelon, but he runs his offense like Bill Belichick runs his defense. He changes it up week to week based on the team he is playing.
The literal moment that fantasy football starts giving you points for blocking, George Kittle's my tight end 1. Like, I'm going to pick him up right away. But if you don't,
100%.
If you don't get points for blocking, then I'm sorry. He's never touching my team.
Honestly, though, like, we need to implement that into fantasy. Like,
send an email. You heard it here first.
If you get 8 pancakes in a game, like there should be at least half a point.
Can you even add that as like an option for points?
I don't know because pancakes is
then
not
those hybrid tight ends, get some real
value.
Can I
start drafting like offensive linemen?
Hey,
the tackles that go off for routes.
Out of freaking Quentin Nelson out here because I'm just getting pancakes,
bro. That's a good move, and he does get 1 catch a game.
Sewell, number 1 overall pick. So
for real though.
So Justin, last year the 49ers went 12-5. They lost in the Super Bowl. This year they're projected 11.5 wins from Vegas. Are you going over or under?
Let me look at their schedule real quick off the top. Let's see.
They have a pretty tough schedule. It's not like the roughest, but it is tough right off the bat facing the Jets. Week 1.
I lean under.
What?
But that's because I lean under, but that's because I 11 wins I feel safer with than putting them at 12 again. Now, their division is feisty. Like the Rams, the Seahawks, even the Cardinals could possibly steal one or two from them.
You don't know with them. That's a wild card.
They've got the Chiefs on the schedule. They've got the Dolphins on the schedule. They've got the Lions on the schedule. They've got the Jets on the schedule. Packers, Bills. Like, they've got some squads that they're playing. Like, they don't have an easy schedule. So, yeah, I lean under.
You going the same, Austin?
12-5. They're on the road to the Super Bowl again.
I would lean under.
So, I think that last year, before week 9, whenever they lost, I think it was 2 or 3 in a row, they won their first 5 games by like at least 7 points. They only beat the Rams by 7, but the rest of them were by like 10 or 15 points a game. They beat Dallas 42-10 in week 5.
Oh yeah, they went on a run where they were just smashing teams.
Then they lost 3 straight. They lost to Cleveland, they lost to Minnesota, then they lost to Cincinnati.
Their division though has gone
and then they went
better.
on another big huge
and they were
run.
already looking good last year.
They did not lose enough talent for me. Like, they lost Chase Young, but they didn't even have Chase Young until like after the trade deadline. They lost Javon Kinlaw, which does suck. Javon Kinlaw is a great defensive tackle, really good for their rotation. That's it, bro. This team is still there. I think that this team is going to have a hard time losing more than 3 or 4 games.
And that's what makes me think Debo and Ayuk are there for at least this season.
I think so too.
You continue with the window, but if it doesn't work out again, if they were to go to the Super Bowl again this year and lose, that means they've lost 3 out of the last 4 Super Bowls. Like, how do you
leave that team? Like, you're so close.
I mean, yeah, but the frustrations you would just look, grass is greener on the other side at that point. Like,
I mean, go to the Chiefs. You want to win a Super Bowl, go to the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's pretty much, especially if you lose to the Chiefs again. Like, nobody wants to see. Do not let the Chiefs three-peat on you. I think Shanahan would get fired at that point. But hey,
the whole team would.
Niners fans, if you're still here with us, be sure to hit that subscribe, comment, notification bell. TulsiRoseTea.com is the sponsor. 500 subscribers, a custom jersey's coming to one of you lucky viewers. So tell your friends, tell your family. And you mentioned it there. We are starting a PFP Dynasty League. Comment in here. Comment on our community page if you want to enter that league with us. $25 buy-in. We'll do multiple leagues if possible. Love you guys. Peace out.